It's been an intense few weeks for Tennessee State Representatives Justin J. Pearson, Justin Jones, and Gloria Johnson. It all started with a gun control rally after a school shooting in Nashville killed 6 people, including 3 children.
We're here today. We're being sought to be expelled from this, the People's House, for speaking up about the need for gun control.
I hereby declare Representative Justin J. Pearson of the 86th Representative District expelled from the House of Representatives.
What is that? That is not a democracy. That is not a democracy.
By the Constitution
of this state,
of this state,
of Tennessee,
of Tennessee.
So help me God.
So help me God.
And the newly reinstated Tennessee State Representative Justin J. Pearson joins me now. Mr. Pearson, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks so much for the opportunity and for elevating this important issue.
In the last few days, you've been an elected official. You got expelled from the legislature. Then you got reinstated to the legislature. Walk me through what the past week and a bit has been like for you.
Yeah, because myself and my colleagues were determined to listen to the people of our constituency in Tennessee and across the country who were demanding fair gun reform and gun control legislation. We were expelled from the State House. Myself and Representative Jones and Representative Johnson stood with us in the well of the House floor. We have seen the most anti-democratic, egregious abuse of power by the Republican supermajority in Tennessee in recent memory, removing duly elected officials who only sought to elevate the issue about the need to end gun violence. But in this country, in our state, where the National Rifle Association, the Tennessee Firearms Association, has such a grip on power and on people who are elected, they preferred to expel us than actually do something that could have saved the lives of those 3 children in Nashville, those 3 adults in Nashville, and too many members in our communities who are dying because of the proliferation of guns and the poor legislation of gun control in our state.
You've been pushing for that issue, and you're pushing for better gun control. What do you think your chances are when the Republican supermajority is more interested in banning you than banning guns?
Yeah, it is very difficult when you have people who want to turn our democracy to a mobocracy where mob rules, and there are the only ones who decide who wins and who loses. But I am convinced that there is this burgeoning movement and a catalyzation of this movement for justice happening right now in Tennessee and in the South and in the country that is demanding change and demanding just legislation that should give us all reason to have hope that even in a place like Tennessee, with a supermajority Republican legislature, the reality is the people-powered movement right now is very strong, and it is not going to be easily silenced. It is not easily expelled. It's not easily quieted, and that is reason for us to believe that even they will be forced to do something more than the status quo. We've already seen the governor of our red state sign an executive order related to background checks, call on the State House for red flag laws, things that we've never seen in the history of the state of Tennessee. And I believe there's more history to be made. For positive reasons.
But in the days after you and Justin Jones were expelled, we saw what happened in Louisville. There's an NRA convention happening right now in Indianapolis, and we've seen the outrage and the outcry. And I don't want to sound defeatist about it, but like from up here in Canada, you see the mass shootings happening with such frequency in the U.S. and then a total lack of change. So how do you not get discouraged in your fight for gun reform?
The reality is we've had more mass shootings this year than we've had days. That is the horror of the life that we are living. In addition to that, we have an epidemic of gun violence in the United States of America, where it is not only mass shootings. There are shootings happening almost every day in every single state, in every single community across our country, whether that be for domestic assault, whether that be for crimes that are being committed. And it is because Republican-controlled legislatures are allowing policies and laws to pass that care way more about people's right to weaponry than people's right to life. The reason that I believe and I encourage others not to get discouraged is that this is a different moment, and it feels like a different moment in Tennessee and American history to me personally. I believe and I know I've witnessed what this country has done after mass shooting, after mass shooting, after mass shooting, and how the media attention goes down. But the people power movement that I'm seeing in the South, in a place where folks don't even expect resistance in this type of way, is really encouraging. And I believe the way that we keep that momentum isn't only just having and building organization around the work of Representative Jones, Representative Johnson, and myself, and just having courage to speak up on behalf of our constituents as they expect for us to, but really to have a lot of organizations, a coalition of organizations who are advocating for these issues consistently and persistently pushing the way forward in the South especially.
I just want to talk about your situation, because here you were, an elected member of the legislature. It's a very different system than we have here in Canada, and you were expelled by this vote, primarily by the Republican supermajority, and then sent back by the Shelby County Commission. But now you're only back as an interim appointment, right? And there's going to be a special election in the fall that you will again have to run in to hold on to the seat, and then run again in less than 2 years with the normal regularly scheduled election. That's a lot of campaigning and fundraising you're going to have to do. How are you getting ready for that?
That's right. I've always wanted to be of service to District 86. My district is in Southwest Tennessee, up in Memphis and Millington. All I've ever wanted to do is be of service to my district. And if that means fighting back against expulsion to be reinstated, if that means running for office twice or 3 times or 4 times, then that's what I would do, because our district does not want to be silent. Our district wants to have representation that's going to fight for it. And for we who believe this isn't just a career, but a calling, we were willing to sacrifice the time and energy it takes to be reelected and to serve in these ways and in this way. It is frustrating that our community is going to have to pay $1 million for another election because of disenfranchisement led by Cameron Sexton, the Speaker of the House, and the Republican Party, because they didn't want to talk about ending gun violence, because they didn't want to stand up against the National Rifle Association, because they didn't want to stand up against the Tennessee Firearms Association. It is amazing how quickly people are willing to erode our democracy and our democratic beliefs and our democratic processes when it favors the people who have power and the gun lobbyists, and how quickly they are to reprimand people who don't seem to follow their democratic decorum when it's elevating the issues of poor people or marginalized people or children or parents who are tired of seeing this epidemic of gun violence raging through our communities.
Given everything that's happened, just as a final question, do you think the Republicans will run against you in the special election coming up later this year, or do you think it might be unopposed?
Now, I don't know what they are going to do, but I do know what we are going to do. We're going to build this people-powered movement door by door, phone call by phone call, to make sure that our fight continues in Nashville, and that the message that District 86 is sending is heard around Tennessee and the country and even the world.
Well, Justin J. Pearson, I want to thank you for your time on what's undoubtedly been a busy time. Thanks for joining our show tonight.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. We're going to keep fighting.